This is a Tree of Life Bible reading. Luke chapter 9, Sending out the 12. Now, when Yeshua called the 12 together, he gave them power and authority over all the demons and to heal diseases. And he sent them out to proclaim the kingdom of God and to heal. And he said to them, "Take nothing for your journey, no walking stick, no traveling bag, no bread, no money, nor even to have 2 shirts. Whatever house you enter, stay there and depart from there. And whoever does not receive you, when you leave that town, shake off the dust from your feet as a witness against them." So they went out and began traveling throughout the villages, proclaiming the good news and healing everywhere. Now Herod the Tetrarch heard all that was happening, and he was very confused, because some were saying that John had been raised from the dead, but others that Elijah had appeared, and others that some prophet from among the ancients had arisen. But Herod said, "I beheaded John, but who is this about whom I hear such things?" And he kept trying to see him. A hungry crowd in a desolate place. When the emissaries returned, they described to Yeshua all they had done, and he took them along and withdrew privately to a city named Bethesda. But the crowds found out and followed him. So Yeshua welcomed them and began speaking to them about the kingdom of God and curing those in need of healing. Now the day began to wind down, and the 12 came and said to Yeshua, "Send the crowd away so they might go into nearby villages and countryside and find food and lodging, for we are in a desolate place here." But Yeshua said to them, "You give them something to eat." But they said, "We have no more than 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, unless we go to buy food for all these people." For there were about 5,000 men. Then Yeshua said to his disciples, "Have the people recline in groups of about 50 each." They did so, and all reclined. And he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he offered the bracha and broke them. And he kept giving them to the disciples to set before the crowd. Then they all ate and were satisfied. And what was left over was picked up, 12 baskets of the fragments. Secrets revealed to the disciples alone. Once Yeshua was praying alone, and his disciples were near, he put a question to them, saying, "Who do the crowds say that I am?" They replied, "John the Immerser, but others, Elijah, and others, that some prophet from among the ancients has risen." Then he said to him, "But who do you say that I am?" Then Peter answered and said, "The Messiah of God." But Yeshua warned them, and he ordered them not to tell this to anyone, saying, "The Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and ruling Kohanim and Torah scholars and be killed, and on the 3rd day be raised." Then Yeshua was saying to everyone, "If anyone wants to follow me, he must deny himself, take up his cross every day, and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. For what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world, but loses or fortifies himself? For whoever is ashamed of me and my words, the Son of Man will be ashamed of him when he comes in his glory, and the glory of the Father, and the holy angels. But I tell you truthfully, there are some standing here who will never taste death until they see the kingdom of God." Glorified on a mountain. About 8 days after these teachings, Yeshua took Peter, John, and Jacob with him and went up the mountain to pray. While he was praying, the appearance of his face changed, and his clothing flashed like white lightning. And behold, 2 men were talking with him, Moses and Elijah. Appearing in glory, they were speaking of Yeshua's departure, which was about to take place in Jerusalem. Now Peter and those with him were overcome with sleep. But when they awakened, they saw Yeshua's glory, and the 2 men standing with him. And as they were leaving, Peter said to him, "Master, it's good for us to be here. Let's make 3 Sukkot, one for you, one for Moses and one for Elijah, not knowing what he was saying. While he was yet saying these things, a cloud came and overshadowed them, and they were afraid. As they entered the cloud, then a voice came out of the cloud saying, "This is my son, the one I have chosen. Listen to him." After the voice happened, Yeshua was found alone. They kept quiet and told no one in those days any of the things they had seen. Coming down from the mountaintop. On the next day, as they came down from the mountain, a large crowd met Yeshua. Suddenly, a man from the crowd shouted out loud, saying, "Teacher, I'm begging you to look at my son, for he's only a child. You see, a spirit takes hold of him. He immediately screams. It throws him into convulsions with frothing. It ever hardly leaves him. It's crushing him. I beg your disciples to drive it out," but they couldn't. Then, answering, Yeshua said, "O faithless and twisted generation, how long shall I be with you and put up with you? Bring your son here." And while the boy was still approaching Yeshua, the demon knocked him down to the ground and threw him into convulsions. But Yeshua rebuked the unclean spirit, healed the boy, and restored him to his father. And all were amazed at the mighty power of God. But as everyone was marveling at all he was doing, he said to the disciples, "Put these words into your ears. The Son of Man is about to be delivered into the hands of men." But they did not understand the statement. It was yet concealed from them, so they could not grasp it, and they were afraid to ask him about this statement. Now a dispute began between the disciples as to who might be the greatest among them. But Yeshua, knowing the reasoning of their heart, took a child and set him by his side. And he said to them, "Whoever welcomes this child in my name welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. The one who is the least among all of you is the one who is great." John replied, "Master, we saw someone driving out demons in your name, and we tried to stop him because he doesn't follow along with us." Yeshua said, "Do not stop him, for he who is not against you is for you." Samaria turns Yeshua away. When the days were approaching for him to be taken up, Yeshua was determined to go up to Jerusalem. And he sent messengers before him, and they went and entered a Samaritan village to make his arrangements. But they did not receive him, because he was focused on going up to Jerusalem. When his disciples Jacob and John saw this, they said, "Master, do you want us to command fire to come down from heaven and consume them?" But Yeshua turned and rebuked them. Then they moved on to another village. As they were traveling on the road, someone said to him, "I will follow you wherever you go." But Yeshua said to him, "Foxes have dens and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." He said to another, "Follow me." But that one said, "First, let me go and bury my father." But Yeshua said to him, "Let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and proclaim the kingdom of God." Then another also said, "I will follow you, Master, but first let me say goodbye to those who are in my home." But Yeshua said to him, "No one who has put his hand to the plow and looked back is fit for the kingdom of God."